I, 21F, am feeling uncomfortable about my boyfriend's, 21M, interest in my close friend, 20F. I honestly don't even know how to start this. It feels like everything that used to feel safe and easy in my relationship suddenly has this shadow hanging over it. For context, my boyfriend Evan and I have been together for almost 2 years. We met during our sophomore year of college, one of those slow burn stories that started with long study sessions, late night walks, and that feeling where you just know this person gets you. I really thought I had found my person, and I guess that's why this whole thing hurts so much. Because I didn't expect something, or someone, to come between us like this. That someone is my friend, Tara. She's 20, and we've been close since high school. She's one of those people who's magnetic. She walks into a room and everyone notices. She's funny, confident, beautiful, but in that effortless way. The kind that doesn't even realize how much attention she gets, and for the longest time, I never saw her as a threat. Why would I? She's my friend, my safe person. She's been there through breakups, family stuff, everything. But lately, something has shifted. It started small. A few weeks ago, I hosted a movie night at our apartment, just a casual evening with a few friends. Tara came, of course, and everything seemed fine until it wasn't. I started noticing the way Evan looked at her, not in a creepy or obvious way, but in that subtle, too interested way. The way his smile lingered a little longer when she laughed at one of his jokes. The way he'd start conversations with her about random topics just to keep her talking. And I told myself I was overthinking it. Because who wants to be that girlfriend? The insecure one who can't handle her boyfriend having female friends. But then, the signs kept stacking up. He started mentioning her more often. At first, it was casual. Tara said this funny thing the other day, or Tara recommended this show. But then it started to feel unnecessary. Like, why was he thinking about her when she wasn't around? Then one night, I walked past the couch while he was scrolling on his phone, and I saw he was watching her Instagram story. Okay, not a big deal, right? But he doesn't usually watch anyone's stories. He's the type who avoids social media altogether, so why hers? I joked about it, tried to make it lighthearted, and he just laughed and said, "She posts cool stuff." That was it. And I laughed too, but inside, something twisted in my stomach. Then came the hike. We went with a group of friends, and somehow Evan and Tara ended up walking ahead together. I didn't think much of it until I noticed how comfortable they seemed, like they had this private bubble between them. When I caught up, they were laughing about some inside joke that I wasn't part of. I remember that moment so clearly, because it felt like I was intruding on their connection, not mine. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every little thing in my head, the way his voice softened when he spoke to her, how she looked at him when he joked, and how easy it all seemed between them. I told myself again, "You're being paranoid," but my gut wouldn't shut up. So the next morning, I finally brought it up. I told him gently that I'd been feeling a little uncomfortable with how close he seemed to be getting to Tara. And his reaction? He sighed, rubbed his temples, and said, "You're overreacting. She's your friend. I just like that she's easy to talk to." That stung more than I expected. Not because of what he said, but how he said it. Like my feelings were an inconvenience. Like I was just making drama out of nothing. So I dropped it. But the uneasiness didn't go away. If anything, it got louder. The next week, Tara texted me to ask if Evan could help her fix something on her car. She said she didn't want to bother a mechanic for something simple. Normally, I wouldn't have thought twice, but something in me hesitated. And when I asked Evan about it, he jumped at the chance. He didn't even pause, just said, "Yeah, of course." She probably just needs someone to look at it. When he came back that afternoon, he was smiling. That relaxed, happy smile that I hadn't seen in a while. I asked how it went, and he said, "Oh, we got it sorted. She's actually really funny when she's stressed." She's actually really funny. Those words looped in my head all night. It wasn't what he said. It was how fondly he said it. That was when something in me cracked, because I realized that the version of Evan I used to have, the one whose eyes were only ever on me, had started looking somewhere else. He still says he loves me. He still kisses me goodnight. But something has changed. He looks at me differently now. Less like I'm his person, and more like I'm just there. And maybe I sound crazy, but you can feel it when someone's energy shifts away from you. You can feel when. Update. I, 21F, confronted my boyfriend, 21M, about his growing closeness with my friend, 20F, and now everything feels shattered. Hey everyone, I didn't think I'd be writing an update this soon, but a lot happened. I read through every comment on my original post. Some of them comforting, some brutally honest. I won't lie, a few of them stung, especially the ones saying, he's already emotionally cheating, or your gut knows what's up. But the truth is, deep down, I knew something was off. I just didn't want to face it. So, after posting, I decided to stop gaslighting myself. I made a decision. I needed to stop assuming and start observing. For the next week, I paid attention. And what I saw broke something in me. It started with little things. The way he'd pause a second longer when Tara's name popped up in our group chat. The small smile that crept across his face when she sent a meme. Then there was the day I got off work early and came home before he expected me to. He was in the living room, headphones on, laughing quietly. I asked who he was talking to, and he hesitated before saying, "Just Tara. She wanted advice on her essay." Advice. On her essay. But when I checked the time, it was almost midnight. I didn't say anything that night. I just went to bed with that sick, heavy feeling in my stomach. That kind of hurt that doesn't even make you cry right away, because you're still trying to convince yourself you're imagining it. The next day, I asked him directly, "Are you getting feelings for her?" And he froze. Not immediately defensive, not angry, just silent. That silence told me everything. After a long pause, he finally said, "I care about you. But yeah, I think I might have gotten too close to her. I can't even describe what that felt like. It wasn't anger, not at first. It was grief. Because it confirmed what I had been trying so hard to deny. He said he didn't mean for it to happen, that it wasn't physical, that he just connected with her. He said it like that made it better. Like emotional betrayal was somehow easier to digest. I told him how humiliating it felt, how betrayed I felt by both of them. And he just sat there, looking at me like he didn't know who I was anymore. I told him I needed space, and he agreed to stay with his brother for a few days. Those few days were the longest of my life. Every time I looked around the apartment, everything reminded me of him. The half-empty coffee mug on the counter, his jacket on the chair, his smell on the pillow. It felt like a ghost was haunting me. Then came the next blow. Tara texted me. She said she wanted to clear the air. She came over, and before she even spoke, I could tell. She had that nervous, guilty look that said there's more to the story. I asked her, point blank, "Did anything happen between you and Evan?" And she said, "Not really. Not absolutely not, just not really. That was it." That was the moment I felt something inside me break. I pressed her, and after a lot of stammering, she admitted they had hung out alone a few times, and that things got emotionally complicated. Apparently, he confided in her about our relationship, about how I'd been distant, which I hadn't, and how he felt like she understood him better lately. She swore nothing physical happened, but honestly, at that point, it didn't even matter. The damage was already done. I told her to leave. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just told her to go, and she did quietly. The second she walked out the door, I finally broke down, because now it wasn't just about losing my boyfriend. It was about losing one of my closest friends, too. That night, Evan came home to get some of his things, and I told him I couldn't do this anymore. He cried, he begged. He said he didn't realize how deep he'd fallen until he saw how much it hurt me. He said he loved me, not her. But you can't love someone and make them feel like they're constantly in competition with their best friend. You can't love someone and feed another connection behind their back. So I told him it was over. He left quietly. No big fight, no dramatic scene, just silence. And now the silence feels heavier than anything else. It's been 3 weeks since then. Tara moved out of our friend group. Evan's trying to stay friends, but I can't even bring myself to answer his texts. I've been doing therapy, journaling, and trying to reclaim the version of myself I was before I started doubting everything. And honestly, I'm finally starting to breathe again. I'm still angry, still hurt, but I also feel something I haven't in months: clarity. Because no matter how painful it's been, I finally know the truth. And I'd rather face a painful truth than live comfortably in a lie. Final update, it's been 3 months since I, 21F, ended things with my boyfriend, 21M, after his emotional affair with my close friend, 20F, and I finally feel like myself again. Hey everyone, it's been a little over 3 months since my last update, and honestly, life looks very different now. Not perfect, not tied up in a neat bow, but peaceful, and that's something I didn't think I'd ever get back. After everything that happened, the confrontation, the breakup, and losing two people I once trusted more than anything, I went through a really dark phase. I was functioning, sure, but it felt like I was living in grayscale. You know that feeling where you wake up and for a few seconds everything's normal, and then you remember? Yeah, that. At first I kept replaying everything in my head. Every conversation, every sign I ignored, every time I doubted my own instincts. I kept asking myself, what if I had done something differently? What if I'd been more fun, more trusting, less emotional? But that kind of thinking eats you alive. And after enough sleepless nights, I finally realized it wasn't about what I did or didn't do. It was about what they chose. So I decided to start fresh. I moved out of the apartment Evan and I shared. My aunt had a small studio she was renting out short term, and she offered it to me for cheap. It's tiny, one room, a kitchenette, and a window that looks out onto the street. But it feels like mine. I started filling the space with little things that made me happy. Candles, plants, fairy lights, and this ridiculous floral comforter that Evan would have hated. It's like I'm reclaiming the pieces of myself I used to dull down to make room for him. Therapy helped too. My therapist said something that stuck with me. You can forgive someone and still decide they don't deserve a place in your life. That hit hard, because for weeks I thought forgiveness meant reconciliation, like if I forgave him, I had to let him back in somehow. But no, forgiveness is something I did for me, not for him. As for Evan, he reached out twice. The first time was about a month after the breakup. He texted saying he missed me, that he was sorry, that he'd made a huge mistake. I didn't respond. The second time was a voicemail on my birthday. He said he hoped I was happy and that he'd been going to therapy too. I'll admit, I cried listening to it. Not because I wanted him back, but because I finally realized I didn't. That version of us, the one that laughed in the kitchen at 2 a.m., the one that talked about traveling and the future, that version doesn't exist anymore. And I think he finally knows that too. As for Tara, she tried to apologize. About a month and a half ago, she sent me a long message saying she was sorry for betraying my trust, that she never meant to hurt me, and that she's been working on herself. I didn't reply. Not because I wanted to be cruel, but because I'm not obligated to offer closure to someone who took mine away. From what I've heard through mutual friends, she and Evan aren't together. Apparently, things fizzled out fast once reality set in. That part used to give me a twisted sense of satisfaction, like good, they deserve each other's misery. But now, I honestly don't care. They can figure out their mess on their own. I've got enough of my own healing to do. The good news is I'm actually doing okay, better than okay even. I started painting again, something I stopped doing in college because Evan thought it was a waste of time. I joined a local art group that meets every Saturday, and it's the one thing I look forward to every week. I've made new friends there, people who make me laugh without it feeling complicated. And okay, I'll be honest, there is someone new. It's nothing serious yet, and I'm not even sure where it's going, but it feels healthy. His name's Liam. We met through the art group. He's patient, gentle, and never makes me feel like I have to earn his attention. The first time we went out for coffee, I told him up front, I'm still figuring myself out. And he just smiled and said, "That's okay. I'm not here to fix you, just to know you." It's slow, simple, and drama-free, which honestly feels revolutionary after everything I've been through. But here's the biggest change. I trust myself again. When you've been gaslighted, even subtly, it makes you doubt your intuition. You start second-guessing every feeling, every instinct. But now, I listen to that little voice inside me. Because she was right all along. Sometimes I still think about how different things could have been if Evan had just talked to me instead of drifting toward someone else. But I've stopped making homes out of what ifs. Because what ifs don't heal you. Acceptance does. So, yeah, I'm healing. Not perfectly, not all at once, but piece by piece.